I'd like to welcome all of you today and thank you for joining us. My name is Craig Ray, and we're going to be discussing what I think you're going to find is a very intriguing system that's going to impact your practice dramatically, and how we do that and why we're here. I started this concept after the mortgage meltdown about 8 years ago with one focus in mind, which was how can I bring a more diversified set of lending options to business, to a business owner, to a practitioner like yourself. And in doing so, helping a much broader scope of the population. That was a void in the market. Those that dominate the Synchrony or GE programs and their branded programs like Care Credit, which really are very prominent out there in the medical space today, really focus on just the best credit worthy, which is really mitigating minimal risk. And with that, it's a revolving credit line. It's like a credit card, and it's got interest rates that are pretty high as 28.9%, if not higher, with some retroactive penalties. So how could we tackle that? Well, number one, first things first, it is a relationships business, and we're up to 17 different bank relationships right now. And the strength is really designing and tailoring the best set of options for you in your practice. So having more bank connections is going to be a better revenue engine for your practice, number one, because we're going to help more. You're going to capture more patients. They're not going to be walking out the door. You're giving them the ability to get the treatment that they need from you. Most importantly, we're going to talk about some convenience as well. Number one, this is all in one system. And obviously the logic behind it is, why just be in bed with just one option, with one bank, if you can have a collection of lenders that are there to really compete for each patient for you. So this is Coalify. So as far as medical patient financing, again, to extend what I was sharing, as far as multiple lenders, you got more lenders that are going to help more patients get the treatments that they need. This is important because no one was really addressing the everyday American. The average American today was being left out in the cold. Basically, there's a small spectrum of the population today. It's as little as 17% up to 22%, depending on which survey that you're looking at today, that could really qualify as a credit-worthy patient. That's not the average American today. And that's what we're going to focus on, and that's who we're going to help. Obviously, having a better system is going to produce what? It's going to give us better results. I know what's important to all of us is an easy online application. If the process isn't easy, we're just wasting our time. You also need efficiency with approval in minutes. That's very important. Each patient is going to receive several different offers. What you're going to love about this process, and what I want to share with you, is our application process is even unique in that when you're entering an amount and a requested amount for whatever the treatment or whatever that surgery is, it's going to immediately show you and your patient that you're going to be sharing this with what their payment options are. It's going to default to the lowest payment on a simple interest installment loan. Okay, and I'm going to talk about how that differs from the revolving credit programs that are out there. So a simple interest loan with no default or punishing APR back to the treatment date. Number one, we're going to treat your patients better. So it's going to default to the lowest payment, but it's also going to offer them an interest-free offer. Because even the best credit worthy are very interested in an interest-free offer, or deferred interest, if you will. Whether that's 6, 12, 18 months, we have those as well. So they're clearly going to see, even before you enter their name, what their payment options will be, and you can share that with them. These loans are easy to accept online as well. Very important. Very important that it's click and go to execute the funding. Basically, there are templated documents that'll come up and clearly show if they've accepted a promotional offering, which is interest-free, or if they wanted the standard installment loan with the lowest payment. Once they click and accept that in a consent form as well, there's no printing or ink signatures that are required. It's easy to accept this and execute that funding to you. Now, again, as I started, we talked about how are we helping the average American. We actually can offer so much more. We have relaxed credit requirements and help the broadest scope of the population out there today. We can help A, B, C, and even D credit patients. How do we do that? Through diversification in the programs and the relationships that we've developed, we found the right relationships that are going to help address those that have had some life event, something that happened to them. And you've heard this story a lot. Someone has been over a 700 FICO score and they had some life event. Something happened, maybe even something medical. But in a lot of cases, it could have been maybe they went through a divorce. They've walked away from a home. And that alone, having a short sale, having a foreclosure as an example, these are just examples now, but that could reduce your score 140 points. And unfortunately, in this day and age of technology, they only look at what are you doing for me lately, meaning most of these credit algorithms are looking at that bottom line score, what's your ability to repay, what's your debt to income. We're going to have programs that we can implement into your sequence as well that'll give people a better opportunity to get that treatment by Vantage scoring, if you will. It's really just looking at some different details, putting more weight on their ability to repay. Someone that went through that situation where they had a divorce or they had lost their home and dropped that 140 to 150 points in score. In this particular example, we have lenders that will consider them because maybe their work history is still the same. They've been at the same employer for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Nothing's changed there. So their income stream has been solid and stable. And their current living arrangement. Maybe they've been in the same address for 2 years as well. And it's been 3 years ago since they had a foreclosure or a bankruptcy. Keep in mind, even those with bankruptcies, as long as it was discharged over 2 years ago, they're still eligible to be processed in our program. And that's huge. We're just here to help the average person and even those with, some deeper credit challenges get the treatments, get the approvals that they need, so they can move forward in life and start repairing their life as well as far as the credit side of this. But most importantly, you're not walking away from any business. There's also servicing for those that are not approved. What does that mean? A lot of you, I'm sure, have entertained or are still currently doing it, where you're helping your current client base. If they were declined, but they've been a long-time client of yours, you're probably carrying that patient in-house or have considered it. And for those, we still have an opportunity where we're going to manage that in the collection of the payment and paying you as well. It's a managed receivable. But it also gives you an asset. You haven't lost that patient. That asset, if you will, the patient in this case, after 6 months of consecutive payments and good payment history, is eligible to be financed and paid out to you at a percentage. So you're not waiting for that 24 or 36 months to be paid. Okay, let's talk about rates. I initially brought up interest rates from our competing programs, and obviously the GE branded programs or Synchrony branded programs are the most prominent out there, and their interest rates are pretty debilitating. We have rates as low as 5.95. A majority of our rates are all under 14.9%, which is nearly 50% less than what they offer on their revolving credit line. The other beauty of this is upon their approval, they're going to see the interest rate and not only that payment on their approval. But once they accept this as well, that credit and that approval is only good for your practice, as opposed to the revolving credit that's offered out there. They can use that at any participating doctor. Accounts receivable financing is an extension of what I was talking about as far as managed receivables as well. If you've got files of patients that owe you, that you've been collecting on maybe $100 a month, whatever that is, that you've developed some kind of program internally within your practice that you've been collecting from your patient base, we can purchase those as well. We can finance those entire files and purchase those and cash you out. Koalify is a software and service platform provider for patient financing. Our strength, again, is really connecting you to better, more quality lenders and funding sources, not only for your patients, but for your practice as well. We identify the best banks and the best sequence for your practice and your demographic as well. No matter where you're at in the country, you're going to have the best sequence of lenders that are configured in your portal. Convenience. Again, I know I spoke about this earlier, but the convenience is paramount. With an easy-to-use web portal and accessible anywhere you have internet. Now, why would I state that if most patients are going to be applying in the practice? In a lot of cases, I'm sure you've encountered someone will come in for a consultation, and you've got that patient that went through, and you're exploring those treatment options with that particular patient, and they want to think about it. Because obviously there's going to be a discussion about what's the cost of this, how much is going to be covered by insurance, if any, okay? And then what is cash pay? Because we're focusing on cash pay. What is out of pocket to that patient? So when I say it's accessible anywhere, can the patient apply from home? Yes. We go through those steps with you in training as well. And the ease of use and how easy it is to accept this online and to have someone available on the phone as well to coach them through if there's any questions, that's extremely important to us as well, that hand-holding through this. Because we all know applying for credit can be very intimidating for some, and we're going to help change that culture. Having more patients approved for the treatments that they need is going to add to your bottom line, and that's the goal here. We want to not only increase your revenue by capturing more as compared to those that only want to approve the A credit-worthy patients, but we're going to lower your costs simultaneously. Lowering your cost, increasing approvals is a win-win for both of us. Again, focusing on the cost less per patient. Each program, each treatment is going to be treated differently. We'll go through that in our interview process with you. It's easy to enroll. Enrollment for your practice, we can go through that as well. The first steps are really scheduling a call today to be interviewed for our program. There's a link below that you can start with the questionnaire that's going to help us. And we're going to share black and white numbers with you, not only on how much we can save you, but potentially how much more business we can increase on your bottom line by capturing those patients that normally could not get approved by the primary programs. I want to thank you for taking the time today. I hope you found this of great value, and we look forward to being your partner in the future. Thanks again.